Hi everybody, welcome to Spirit Wise. I'm Rai-na. Today I'm going to continue with a little bit more of my stories of watching the afterlife. This is way before I really knew what was going on, but there was a time in 1 year, within 2 months, I lost my maternal grandmother, my father-in-law, and my grandfather in the old country. One morning, I think it was the day after the funeral of my father-in-law, I was sitting with the kids on the couch in the living room, all of us in our pajamas. I was reading them a story. Partway through the story, I remember looking up and thinking, if somebody was standing right there in front of us, they would think this was a really cozy, lovely family scene. I just brushed it off and finished the story with the kids. We did our things, and as we were getting dressed, I was wearing contacts at that time, so I remember being in my bedroom at the Highboy, and when you're putting in contact lenses, you're not thinking about anything else. You're thinking about getting it in your eye. That's it. All of a sudden, as I'm putting them in, it's almost like I felt someone hold my shoulder from behind, just put their hand on my shoulder, and I remember stopping and gasping, and I had to sit down on the bed, and all I could think of is, what was that? What was that? Shook it off, finished putting in my contacts, went and did my thing. About an hour later, we received a phone call that my grandfather had passed away. And I remember thinking, oh, I hope that was him. I so wanted him to see where I lived and to see his great-grandchildren and to see how well everybody was doing. If I had known that was really him, I would not have been startled. I would not have been scared. But all those moments in my life, things like this added up until I got to the point where I really understood what was happening. I always think they gift us when they pass if we're able to hear them or see them or feel them, even just this sense of warmth and love that comes. Because I truly believe on the other side, as I was taught, the only vibration is love. And to know that they look back on us with great love gives me wonderful comfort. As I got more adept at what I was doing and learning the difference between imagination and actual spirit communication, it got easier. It absolutely got easier. I know I talked a little bit about my Uncle Bo in the other tape. I'm remembering being at his home, and I was lucky enough to be there when he passed. A couple of days before that, though, my Uncle Bo, who was into aviation and loved all things aviation, was kind of startled out of his sleep just a couple days before he passed. And he was rather agitated. And I said, what's going on, Uncle Bo? And he said, well, who's going to fly the plane? He said, I've got to go, and who's going to fly the plane? And I said to him, well, you don't have to fly this plane. You're just a passenger. You get to enjoy the ride. And he went, oh, huh. And he settled back down. And 2 days later, he did pass. He lived on such a busy street. And I knew when the funeral home was coming to collect the remains, I was worried more for the people on the street or driving, because who wants to be driving down the street and see such a personal grieving moment of someone being removed from the home? And I remember asking, oh, if there was just a way that the traffic wouldn't be there when they bring him out of this home and into the van. So everything was prepared, and I held the door open initially so they could go down those few steps, down across the lawn. And I looked up, and there wasn't a single car on that busy road either way. I was so grateful. And I kept track of him. And then I knew when he made it, which gave me great comfort. Now his wife, my lovely aunt, was having a prolonged parting. It took far longer than I'm sure she ever hoped. And I was puzzled as to why it was taking so long for her to make her transition. I figured there's got to be something still holding her here, or there's a moment she's waiting for. So I could see my Uncle Bo. And he was with one of those old planes from the 40s, this shiny steel aluminum craft that tipped back. And he was standing at the door. And he's there, come on, Toots, time to go. So I made sure I passed that on to her. And I said, Uncle Bo's coming with a plane. He's going to take you away. And I think he did. We don't know what's on the other side. We can guess. We've had those rare souls that make it back and tell us that they wouldn't be afraid to go because they were that close, and yet wasn't their time. I've been taught that the soul will not depart the body 1 minute before it's ready. It's a soul decision. I was taught that if you see someone in great suffering, you do not wish for them to stay for our reasons, but you pray that the soul will make the right decision. I like that idea. I knew someone in my family who was the most skeptical and didn't believe anything about afterlife. No, none of that stuff for him. I wouldn't argue with him. It's not my job to change his mind or to help him see a different way. That's not my journey, that's his. And I figured, well, as he progressed further in his illness on his cancer journey, I wondered if he thought about it. But I didn't see him, and I wasn't part of his journey. I could understand that. But after he passed, but 2 days later, there he was, in this incredible gold light around him, incredible, radiating, lovely, lovely gold energy. And he was dressed the way I always remembered, blue jean top and, like a blue jean shirt, blue jeans. And the look on his face, he was looking at something. And the look of awe on his face, he just gave this very quiet, oh. And I don't know what he was looking at, but I could see the awe and the respect in his face. And I was so glad that he finally looked like he got it, he understood. It's hard when loved ones leave. I don't think nothing makes it easier, whether you know it's coming or not. Nothing makes it easier when they depart. But may we all find some comfort in knowing there is something there. And if they have a way to let you know, they will. And give you that comfort back tenfold in knowing that who they are remains, that soul energy is still who they are. That's all for today. We'll be on to more funny things, I suppose. The next time around, I'll see if I can tell the kind of stories that might make you laugh. Wishing you all a very peaceful, peaceful rest of the day.